may be able to talk to us. We'll come to him in this time. We're just going to join up with our TV colleagues as we go live in sound and vision. Hello everybody and welcome to IMSA TV and radio together. We're in the Motor City and the beautiful Belle Isle racing circuit. Only used once a year for this meeting, the Detroit Grand Prix. And this is the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic. John Hindhaugh and the rest of the IMSA radio team trackside and live, beautifully synced up in pictures and sound. The Raceway at Belle Isle Park is 13 corners at 2.3 miles around. It's the longer version of the track that we use now that was originally used for IndyCar, and then we shortened it the first couple of times we had sports cars here. Action areas, turns 1 and 2. Also up to turn 3, the heavy braking area there, and then at the end of the back straight at turn 7, much smoother there. And the kink before the finish line also being ground down in the period since we were last here a year ago. And certainly looking at the speeds this morning and the lap times, it seems that that has had a positive effect. All the drivers enjoying it. And Jeremy Shaw, the lap times coming down significantly. I think the GT Daytona field, which will go out first, we saw 13 cars out this morning in the final free practice session, all of which were below last year's pole position time.
Quite remarkable, John, how close it was, and all of them already underneath the qualifying record from last year. Sorry, I've lost my voice.
Right,
It's gone.
Don't try, just whisper if you need to talk. I'll come back to you when we can. Let's have the qualifiers from Shea Adam. Shea?
Okay, so we have Ben Keating and Christina Nielsen, as we previously established, in the numbers 33 and 63. First and second in the championship as well for those two cars. Cooper McNeil is going out in the number 50. That is the teammate to the number 33. Both of them Mercedes AMG GT3s. In the number 54, we also see regular qualifier John Bennett behind the wheel of that Porsche. For the number 16, change racing, it is Corey Lewis. That is standard practice. For the two Lexuses, we find Scott Pruitt behind the wheel of the number 14. And for the number 15, it is Robert Alon. So all is normal down there as far as that is concerned. 96 Turner BMW is Brett Curtis, and the 73 is Patrick Lindsay, BMW and Porsche respectively. When we get to the Acuras, we see a little bit of a change. It's still Catherine Legg behind the wheel of the number 93, but it is going to be Jeff Siegel behind the wheel of the 86. And I had a good chat with Jeff in between the sessions where he was talking about what's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. But Jeff is a guy who got the first ever pole for the Ferrari 488 at Sebring last year. This Acura has not had a pole, and this is Jeff's first attempt at qualifying, I'm pretty sure, this year. So normally that's Oz Negri behind the wheel. The 75, the Mercedes, the other Mercedes in the field, that is Kenny Habel behind the wheel. And finally, the number 57, the Stevenson Audi, Lawson Oschenbach behind the wheel of that one.
Who's your pick, Shea?
It's so hard with GTD, but I have a feeling that that number 57 Audi, the one I just mentioned, is going to be pretty hard to beat. Of course, you can't count out the number 48, the Paul Miller racing car that was on pole last year, but something tells me the red and white machine with the giant screaming eagle on the side, that number 57 might just be at the top of the charts when the session's done. How about you?
Oh.
You put me on the spot, I'll put you on it too.
Watch Jerome Mull in the Lamborghini. I think they've got half a chance here.
No, it was Corey Lewis in that one.
Was it? Okay, sorry, that's still the other name on there. Yeah, Lawson. Who did you put in the 57? Was it Lawson who you said was going to go? No?
Between Lawson and Jeff Siegel, I think those are going to be the two cars that we're going to really have to keep an eye on. So 57 and 86, they'll be trading some pretty serious punches.
Right. Listen, we had 13 cars within 0.8 of a second this morning, so really throw a blanket over them when they head out there. I wouldn't count out anybody in certainly the top half dozen. They were separated by literally a few tenths.
The ironic thing, actually, John, is that I think they're further apart on the pit lane than they are when they're on the track in terms of times and distance, because you really couldn't throw a blanket over all of them on the pit lane. They are spread out from pit in to pit out. But on the track, with the times that we saw reflected earlier today, I think if you line them all up nose to stern, it wouldn't even be that far apart.
Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. The GTD categories, the cars that we would all have in our garage if we had the financial wherewithal. Mercedes-Benz, AMG, Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Acuras, and of course a singleton Audi, as well as new for this year, the Lexus as well. Genuine GT road cars, Grand Tourers, that's what the GT stands for, but here it's sprint racing for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, and we're just a few moments away with the cars already nosing and pointing their noses into the fast lane of the pit lane, waiting for the green flag. And the BMW, the M6, the Turner Motorsport car, they must have a chance as well. Pretty much anybody could have a chance here. Remember, there has to be 11 minutes of green flag racing to make this a legitimate session. There is the chance of a red flag that could cost time. If we get that situation, the grid will be set on championship points, and Shea Adam will remind me who's leading the championship at the moment. Shea?
That would be the number 33, the Riley Technologies car. Ben Keating and Jerome Blake Mullen have not been off of a podium since COTA last year. That was the end of September.
Wow. So they've got to be in with a shot as well. Stand by for action, ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to get very serious. We've had 3 hours of free practice, 3 hours for the teams and drivers, 15 cars on the pit lane in this GT Daytona category, to dial themselves in, to set the cars up, to find the perfect solution to this 2.3 mile Belle Isle circuit. Green flag is in the air, and we are out for the first qualifying session. 15 minutes on the clock, not much time to do anything other than perhaps come in halfway through and have a look at the Continental tyres, maybe change the pressures. Very little else in terms of adjustments to be made, so you've got to have used that 3 hours of free practice wisely, and everyone coming out of the pit lane still to come out. Scott Pruitt in the, or at least the 14 Lexus, the 16 Lamborghini, the 73 Porsche and the 75 Mercedes-Benz, but all of the rest of the cars, so 11 of the 15 have come out at the waving of the green flag, and it's 2 Mercedes-Benz, the AMG GT Coupe, smashing cars. Great noise that they make. Had one of them right up my tailpipes at Spa a couple of weeks ago, the road-going version, and very imposing it looked in my rear-view mirror. Ferrari, the 63 car with Christina Nielsen, already disposing of Cooper McNeil coming through turn 7. She wants a bit of clear track in front of her. And through the fountain section, 9, 10 and 11. 8, 9, 10, excuse me. And, yeah, she's got a bit of a gap in front of her. And heading down towards the fast right-handers that'll bring her onto the start-finish straight. The red and white Ferrari, defending champion, now coming back towards our vantage point. But it's the Mercedes-Benz that goes through first of all. Ben Keating, followed by Christina Nielsen, 33 from 63. They are starting their fast laps now. Christina Nielsen, last year's driver's champ then, out of turn 2, heading down the longer straight now than it used to be. He used to head off to the right there, but now it's straight. Oh, still warming of tyres there from Cooper McNeil. Maybe just cleaning off the Continentals. Heading down the braking area. 28, Daniel Morad, who parked the car backwards in the turn 1 barriers. Got a new set of rear lights on the Porsche. Car looks absolutely perfect now. It's had a new rear bumper wrap. 86, Jeff Siegel in the pit lane, Shane.
This was totally expected because the car was rebuilt in between the last sessions. They actually had a welding machine out. They were working on it with a saw at various points. So they sent Jeff out to do a shakedown lap. Now they've taken the engine cover off just to make sure that all the pieces are where they should be before they send him out to push as hard as he can. The 73, the Park Place Porsche, Patrick Lindsay, It's a lot of P's in there. Has come back in as well. They are checking the front left tire. A bit of a vibration, I'm imagining, was reported back to Patrick, from Patrick on his initial lap. They put it back on. They have secured it, dropped the car off the air jacks, and he will be going back out. Engine cover back on for the number 86. And Jeff Siegel is waiting very patiently as the car is waiting to be told that he can go out and try for a fast qualifying lap. That's the Porsche in the background. And it looks like Patrick's actually going to come back out onto the track with quite a bit of traffic around him. When he left the pit lane, he was not a part of the initial scrum, but he should have the number 57 Audi to play with, at least for a little while, as Lawson Aschenbach completes another lap.
If I want to talk, I really need to fade my mic up, don't I? Thank you, Shay. Ben Keating then with the first bid, if you will, a 1:35.802. We got down in GTD this morning to 130s, low 130s, so a bit of work to be done. Lap record for qualifying, Brian Sellers a 31.3, and the race lap a 30.6. This track evolves throughout the weekend as the rubber goes on and it cleans up. Remember, it's only used this one weekend. IndyCar and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. The Chevrolet Sports Car Classic, 5 minutes gone already in qualifying for GT Daytona. Scott Pruitt leaps to the top, but it's not a big jump and only a 34.9. Now, it feels a bit warmer out there for me, but it is overcast.
It definitely is warmer out here, John. There is no one wearing a jacket, and the last session that we finished, there were a couple of people with long sleeves still on. The cloud cover has contributed to it not being so directly hot, but it is still warm in the air, and the track temperature has to be up there. I'll try and find a screen to tell me exactly what it is, but a thing I just noticed on track actually is for Christina Nielsen. She is one of 9 drivers leaving, 8 drivers actually, because Jose Gutierrez is not here this weekend. 8 drivers leaving from Belle Isle tomorrow to go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans test over in France. She's currently on track with 2 of her teammates because over there she will be sharing a car with Brett Curtis, who is piloting the 96 Turner BMW, and one of the co-drivers in the other car, Cooper McNeil, and he is in the number 50 Mercedes as Jeff Siegel takes the 86 out on track.
Which means that everyone is out on the circuit. Finally, we get down to business with Lawson Aschenbach. I need to check that it is Lawson Aschenbach behind the wheel, because Jeremy was talking to Andrew Davis just half an hour ago. Right, definitely Lawson. And I'm hearing from the pit lane. And Andrew thought he was going to be qualifying the car, so a late change there. Let's put Lawson Aschenbach in at the moment. It's paying off on 31.9, 1 minute 31.889 to be precise, but he's going quicker again this next lap around. He's very carefully brought the Continental tyres up to pressure and to temperature and beginning to attack. So the qualifying lap records has gone as we expected it was. Ben Keating goes into 3rd place with a 32.2, 32.1 for Scott Pruitt, 57 Audi, 63 Christina Nielsen now in 2nd place with a 31.9. Audi, Ferrari, Lexus, Mercedes, Lamborghini, top 5, all different cars and separated by a second and a half. Somebody just improved there, and that was Lawson Aschenbach. It goes to a 130.967. Ooh, are we going to get into even lower than that? Christina Nielsen now a full second behind provisional pole sitter Lawson Aschenbach for the 57 Stevenson Motorsport team. Christina then heading around the far side of the circuit as Lawson Aschenbach is going for another quick lap. Christina Nielsen with the fastest first sector of anyone, and this is a real challenge to the Audi, which has had a performance break. Scott Pruitt up into 2nd with a 31.4, but Christina Nielsen on a storming lap at the moment into the 2nd sector as braking area for turn 7. Lawson Aschenbach, my goodness, that 57 red, white and blue Audi turned in beautifully there. Behind him, Porsche number 28. That is the Daniel Morad driven Allegra Motorsport car that was backwards into the tyres this morning. And 33.787 in the middle sector. 3/10 quicker than Christina Nielsen's gone for Aschenbach. Aschenbach here has got half a chance of a very low 130. That would be extraordinary. Christina Nielsen a second, 131 even. So 0.063 away. The battle for pole position well and truly on between Audi, Ferrari, Lexus at the top of the field. Half a second between the top three, 57, 63 and 14, and the 96 has gone straight on. Brett Curtis, my fault, hashtag blame Hindhoff. I did say, hey, the BMW could be in with a chance. Sorry guys, teams have been known to pay me not to mention their names. The IHG Rewards Good car heads out onto the circuit again. Directed onto the track by the marshals, no harm, no foul. Just a missed braking point from Brett Curtis as he came down the strand next to the Detroit River and decided not to try and turn left. Shea Adam with an update from this Continental Tire pit lane report.
The 73, which is the Park Place Porsche, and the number 86, the Acura, they both have to forfeit their fastest lap time so far because they came in and worked on the car, and that is not allowed in qualifying. Now, we knew the 86 was going to do it because it's a safety thing. They didn't want to send Jeff Siegel out to go as fast as he could without a car they were 100% sure was going to stand up the whole time.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm hearing down here, a lot of on the pit lane, traffic, traffic, traffic. The cars that are going really fast have nobody ahead of them, but they are very rare because pretty much everyone around the circuit is saying there are cars everywhere and nobody is respecting each other's line.
Well, that said, we've got 6 of the top 7 having just put their fast laps in. Only Lawson Aschenbach didn't improve last time around. 5 minutes and 17 to go. Live in sound and vision from trackside at the Raceway at Belle Isle. IMSA Radio and TV together in the lengthening shadows of the afternoon sunshine outside of Detroit, just down a little bit from downtown. Across to my right, I'm just about to see the top of the Renaissance Centre as the 48 of Brian Sellers, pole position last year, heads off for another lap, at the moment in 6th position, but only 3/4 of a second away from pole. The whole field at the moment within a couple of seconds, apart from the outliers who are still getting up to speed. Jeff Siegel in the pit lane in the 86 Acura, understand that. That was more of a spanner check and a bit of a run for that car, having had to have the rear clip on that car looked at after this morning's incident. So who is putting the fast laps in? Scott Pruitt is, and goes down to a 31.1. Top 3 separated by a 1/10.5, 0.142 of a second. Aschenbach off the throttle, lets Daniel Morad go through. Now, did he make a mistake there? Or was he looking for room? Was he holding him up? That's the question, because that could have sanction applied. That was through the fountain area. Daniel Morad in 4th position. Scott Pruitt finding another lap on the Continental tyres. Amazing longevity from these tyres in this qualifying session. And Scott Pruitt puts in the fastest Sector 1. He's only got to find a 1/10.5. Blink of an eye around the 2.3 mile circuit. What, 13 corners or thereabouts. 0.01 in each of his braking areas, and he will be on pole position. He sweeps through turn 12, very close to the wall at the exit. Now to turn 13, which is right in front of us. There he goes past us. Pruitt coming to the line, and it's another good centre section from Pruitt. He's going to improve, he's going to improve, he's got the pole. 0.089 of a second. He found the time, and with 3 minutes to go, Scott Pruitt has provisional pole for Lexus. This would be a story. What a story this would be. Scott Pruitt, 1:30.878. A team that is on home ground in terms of its race shop. Based in Lansing, Michigan, which I think I flew over when we came in. Down from Chicago the other day, saw it on the air map on the American Airlines flight. Corey Lewis has just gone to the top from nowhere, a 1:30.8. Corey Lewis in the 16 Lamborghini by 0.076 of a second. My goodness, what a topsy-turvy session this is. 16-14, Lawson Aschenbach now, having put that fast lap in earlier, looking for space. He's down in third. Top three separated by 0.16 of a second. Top six down to Daniel Morad, under half a second. Around 2.3 miles. Very different cars. Lamborghini, Lexus, Audi, Ferrari. Top four, then Lamborghini, Porsche, Acura, Mercedes. Best Mercedes, 8th position. Second to the Lexus, the 15 in 9th position. Time running out. If you've got it in the fast draw, do it now. Morad up to 6th position there with a 1:31.2. Scott Pruitt, 1:30.878. Corey Lewis, though, on top of the pile. 1:30.802. Still lots of blue, but it's in the bottom half of the 13 cars that are running. Porsche 73, Patrick Lindsay in the pit lane, and Jeff Siegel just doing a couple of laps. Just one out lap and back in actually in the Acura just to check that car. Magnificent stuff. 1 minute, 60 seconds on the clock. Remember, if you start the lap, you will be allowed to complete it. So we say it's 15 minutes, but really it could be closer to 16 and a half. 1:30.986 for Lawson Aschenbach. 1:39.67 is his best, so he's running at very good speed. And Brian Sellers pulls out an awesome middle sector in the 48, the Paul Miller Racing black and red Lamborghini. Remember, he was on pole position here last year. The car bucking and weaving through turn number 12. It's not so smooth there, but 13 will get a smoother ride. Here he comes, cuts to the wall, past us, across the stripe. And with 19 seconds left, he'll get another lap, and he's gone to second. 0.092 of a second, and Lawson Aschenbach has gone to the top. 1:30.676. My goodness. Shout out for Continental tyres here. This is like a prototype challenge qualifying of old. It's going to be last man across the line gets pole here. Checkered flag out. Robert Alonso sees it first, then Scott Pruitt. He'll be no better than 4th position in the 14 Lexus. 1:30.934. Oh my goodness. So we're looking at a 1:30.671 is the time to beat the 16 car. Corey Lewis on a decent lap. Will it be decent enough? Needs to find a whole 10th and a third here. Goes across the line. Does not improve. 1:31.053. So 2/10 away from his best. What's Daniel Morad got? He had a good first sector, but not so good in the middle. 3/10 off Brian Sellers. No, he's out of it. He'll be no better than second. Audi versus Lamborghini. Just a matter of 20 cylinders there on the front row. A W20. Catherine Legg. Catherine Legg puts in a late big. I said last man across the line. I should have said last driver across the line. Could be on pole. Acura number 93. Catherine Legg with the best centre sector of anyone. And the checkered flag has not yet been waved for Catherine. There she goes from my right to left and down towards the start-finish line. It's going to be an improvement, surely. And she's got a second. She's on the front row. Audi, Acura, Lamborghini. Lamborghini, the top four at the moment. Point. And Aschenbach's improved, and he had to improve because he was under threat. Catherine Legg, for a fraction, was on pole position. Then Aschenbach went through. Aschenbach at 1:30.200. And Catherine Legg did enough, not quite. 3/10 at the end. We'd been talking in fractions of a tenth, but in the end, Lawson Aschenbach on the very last lap, pretty much the last driver across the line. Remember, the qualifying record was 1:31.340, so more than a second out of that. Take a bow. Lawson Aschenbach, Catherine Legg, Brian Sellers, Corey Lewis, Scott Pruitt, Daniel Morad, Christina Nielsen, all beat last year's pole position, and that's the top 7, separated by 0.8 of a second. And take a bow, the Continental tyre technicians, because those tyres did 9 and 10 laps round there without any discernible drop off in performance. Remarkable 15-minute session, and we saw the cars out there for the whole 15 minutes. And Lawson Aschenbach coming through a full minute after the checkered flag had come out. First pole position for Lawson. And what a fantastic run. Lawson, one of 5 active IMSA drivers who was selected last year by Continental to help them develop the extreme contact sport street tyre. Now, you might think that was bonkers. Right from the design phase through testing, Lawson Aschenbach was involved in that. Got a chance to see some of that going on at the thermal facility in California at the end of last year, and taken very seriously by those 5 drivers. And Lawson Aschenbach on pole position. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit reporter with our first pole sitter for the weekend in GT Daytona for Stevenson Motorsports. Lawson Aschenbach with a new qualifying record, 1:30.200.
And the first thing he did when he got out of the car, John, was turn to the crew and applaud them, because he understands just what a team effort this is. Andrew Davis came over the wall to give him a hug as well and congratulate him. Last year, Lawson Aschenbach drove with Matt Bell. Matt Bell was known for having the most poles in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge until Scott Maxwell took that title away from him. Lawson, though, proving that he can play and that he is capable of going quickly as well. Lawson, I pointed at you, I gave you a thumbs up before that started. You've had the best car underneath you that whole session, but you had to work for it. Did you expect that much competition?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this GTD class, I think, is the most competitive class in IMSA right now, and it shows by the lap times you see in practice. There's so many good teams, so many good drivers, and to get a pole in this class really does mean something, and I'm really proud of these guys at Stevenson Motorsports. We've had a reasonably good year, but we honestly, we've had a few issues here and there at certain races, and definitely didn't show our potential, I didn't feel like. So I really got to say thanks to all the guys, because they've kept with it the last couple of months here, and to be able to come in here, kind of rebound, get a pole after the first 4 races, I think is a testament to this team and the fight that they have in them. And most importantly, I'm glad to have Johnny Stevenson here right now, our team owner. It's always great to have him out at the track, and to be able to do that with him here, I'm just really proud of this pole, and everybody at Audi, Stevenson, and all our partners really got to appreciate all the help.
There are certain tracks where pole position is more important than others. With the track as narrow as Belle Isle is, does that make it even sweeter?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we struggle in the straights. It's not a secret. And I do got to thank the series for giving us a little bit of help this weekend, but we're still kind of at the bottom of the speed charts right now, and it's going to be difficult to keep those guys behind us at the beginning of this race. And with the Pete cars being pretty slow in their first out laps, I think the beginning couple laps of this race are going to be very difficult. But that's why we have to race. I mean, it's a battle for everybody out there. It's tough for everybody out there, but most importantly, I'm happy to get the pole for this team. I think it's a really good indication of where I think this team's going to be the next couple of races.
There's only one Audi in this series, and today you proved it only takes one to get pole. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Yes, they've had a balance of performance break, but as I said, in free practice, you've got to make the best of that. You've got to turn that opportunity into a something real, and that's exactly what Lawson Aschenbach and the rest of the team have done. That was a stunning, and Catherine Legg in second pulled that lap from nowhere right at the end. Shea Adam, that battle at the end there, not sure how close you are to Catherine Legg, did her fastest lap on the last lap, 1:30.541, nearly a full second better than last year's pole time. She might have thought that she had made it there, but Lawson Aschenbach wrung another 3.5 tenths out of the Audi. And Shea, what about the longevity of those tyres? Extraordinary that we saw those pole laps set on the 10th flying, or the 10th lap around for those cars.
It was pretty remarkable, but honestly, we've been seeing it from the prototype challenge class for so many years now that the times only get quicker and quicker as the tires get more and more worn, or so you would think. The interesting thing is going to be how soon does everybody come into pit tomorrow, because of course they have to start on the tires that they qualified on. But I've got eyes on Catherine. She is still standing on the pit lane. Somebody else has driven her car back, so we'll try and get a quick word with her before she runs back to safety. See if I can't interrupt. Hey, Catherine. Catherine, do you mind if I bother you really quickly? That was a heck of a qualifying session for you guys. Best starting position for the Acura, is it not?
Yeah, I think it is. It was a good qualifying. You know, I could have done with another lap on getting the tire pressures up, but second, can't really sniff at that, and I'm just proud of the Acura and Michael Shank Racing and everybody involved for giving me a good car to go out there and get it done. It wasn't easy.
Was it made any more difficult that the sister car wasn't there to help get you guys a good setup through that second practice session?
Yeah, you know, when we're trying different things, it's always nice to have the data to go backwards and forwards, and then we can combine the good things that we found, and we save time effectively on the other stuff. So yes, having such an awesome sister car is really good, and those guys, you know, we help each other so much. But yeah, I'm just happy that we get to start on the front row, and we'll see where we go from there.
Good luck in the race tomorrow.
Thank you.
And John, one other thing for Catherine, she got experience here at Belle Isle for the first time last year because she drove for Michael Shank Racing in the prototype. That was with Oz Negri, who's in the 86. So had she not had that, Belle Isle would have been her first time this year in the Acura. She has a little bit of experience, but coming from the prototype to the GTD car, as we heard from Andy Lally in one of the earlier sessions, not even GTD car to GTD car is really comparable all the time.
Yeah, very good driver, Catherine Legg. Had a brilliant single-seater career, winning in everything into right the way up to Indy Lights, of course. Was that Dale Wise that was with Catherine there? Yeah, who was just congratulating her, giving her a bottle of water. A man who was very well known around these paddocks. Really? Right. PC class ready to go. A small but perfectly formed field. By the way, I just want to point out that we have got 20 cylinders on the front two rows because sorry, no, we haven't. The Acura's I thought that was two Audis. Of course it's not. Audi V10, but they are all mid-engined cars there. Audi, Acura, NSX, Lambo. So three of the top four have the same engine, the 5.2 V10 twin turbo. What a fantastic piece of kit that is. Check that, no turbos on the Audi, he says, and then immediately wishes he hadn't started this conversation. And the point is, three of the four have got the big V10. Lexus in fifth position, then Porsche, best of. Daniel Morad redeems himself, I think, in the outside of the third row. Then Christina Nielsen. Great battle for pole position. Live from trackside. It is IMSA Radio and TV together for another 12.5 minutes of qualifying. Already we have scrubbed off 2.5 minutes as the prototype challenge cars go out. Don Yount in the bar one car, Tommy Dreesy in the black and white number 26 out on the circuit at the moment, and James French, the last man out, in the 38 car. And good to see all three of them out there. Shouldn't have any trouble with traffic. Through comes James French in the red and white car down towards the first corner. 38, then starts his first flying lap. And a very, very good and fast out lap, but still cleaning his Continental tyres as he goes out at 2 down towards the braking area at turn 3. It's the part of the circuit that was extended a few years ago, back to the original IndyCar layout. 90-degree left-hand turn, short chute, braking area, 90-degree right-hand turn, excuse me. And then onto the strand. 26 then is Tommy Dreesy. Tommy doing double duty this weekend, driving in the Trans Am as well. And he goes across the line, 1:39.067. Gonna need something in the 29s or very low 30s to get ahead of the GTD cars, of course, and we'd expect to see these cars do that. They are purpose-built racing cars, thoroughbreds, if you will. One of the headlights off on the Don Yount number 20 car, the Gas Monkey garage machine. black and green. Shea Adam from the pit lane.
That's the car that nosed into the barrier a little bit earlier on,
Good
John.
point.
So
Yeah.
And they've been having a couple issues with the 26 earlier on as well. Tommy Dracy with that beautiful save where he did not actually put the car into the wall, although it really looked like it from the initial shots with all that smoke. So spare parts might be a little bit more at a premium than they were coming into the weekend. Not too concerned about that headlight not working though. And for Tommy Dracy, you mentioned that he is doing double duty. He loves it. He drives everything he possibly can, including NASCAR stock cars at the road courses. Now, Tommy has an association with the movie industry, so every time we see him race, it's a different film on the side of the car. And this weekend, it's a sequel to Planet of the Apes, so I'm sure Tommy will tell us about that tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to resist any punnage there with ape or gorilla there, or planet, or Olf, clearly. Just under 10 minutes still to go. And still to see the PC cars usurp Lawson Aschenbach's time of 1:30.2. What a qualifying that was. Mr. Aschenbach really coming of age in the last couple of years. And Stevenson making good on their performance upgrades. A little bit of scuffage on the left rear of the number 38 car as it goes round. Well, I think I can see one or two exposed tie wraps there, just holding bits of the bodywork on from early contact this weekend. James French qualified first in 15, second in 16 here. So James knows his way around and he jumps to the top of the PC field, the 1:30.477. Still got 2 tenths, nearly 3 tenths to find to beat the best of the GTD cars. And this very important because they will start with prototypes, PCs, and then the GTD classes. I do wonder if IMSA might split them prototypes, then a bit of a gap back to the GTDs. We've seen in the past at Long Beach, if that doesn't happen, the faster GTD cars, who generally speaking get up to speed quicker from the start of the race, can get mixed up with the prototype challenge, and that's not necessarily good for anybody. Tracy comes around, stops the clock on his 5th lap, 1:33.805. So James French at the moment bossing this one. But again, the cars will have been sent out with enough fuel to do the full 15 minutes, and we're pretty much exactly halfway through that now, still 7:30 to go. So expect to see the cars get quicker as the fuel burns out. Cars get lighter. These PC cars certainly not riding the bumps quite as well perhaps as the GT Daytonas that we saw earlier on. That could be a factor too. Relying on the aerodynamic downforce, they've got to be committed into the corners to get the grip. The air pushing over the top of the bodywork and working exactly the opposite way as it does with an aeroplane wing. Aeroplane, it gets you off the ground and gives you lift. Here, those surfaces are reversed, so it pushes you down onto the ground and gives you grip. I'm sure Adrian Newey or any other aerodynamicist would say that it's slightly more complicated than that, Hindhoff, and they would be absolutely right, but those people are clever and can see the air moving, whereas my extensive knowledge of aerodynamics involves me sitting in the car when I was about 6 years old, put my hand out the window and tilting it up or down, or putting a spoon into a water flow and holding onto it and seeing it get dragged through if you put it one way and not if you do it the other. That's fluid dynamics, I know, but it's the same idea. And that's it. You have everything I know now about that placard. Not going to get any of the IndyCar teams or anyone from Formula One ringing me up to be chief aerodynamicists, I don't think. James French does a 29.0, and that is the first car in this qualifying session of any category that has gone round this 2.3 miles in less than 90 seconds. Coming round to complete another lap. Does he improve? I think he... yes, he does. No, he doesn't. 29.5. So the 29.0 from the previous lap, his 4th, is the mark to beat at the moment. the drivers. Well, Shea Adam, you're at ground level at the at that end of pit lane. Turn 1, is it just me, or is everyone being a tiny bit conservative through that?
It's not just you. James French is being the least conservative,
Yes,
but
that's James.
yeah, that's James. And from where people were braking, because Tommy, I noticed a couple of times through turn 1 in the number 26, Tommy Dreesy, that is, he's braking much, much earlier. Now, I'm not sure if that's because there is more of the different tire compounds laid down. Maybe it's a little bit less grippy for the Continentals, maybe a little bit slicker out there. But everybody is definitely lifting and braking a lot earlier than they were. That's Tommy Dreesy coming by me now. He got on the brakes probably 100 feet or so earlier than he was in the practice session. So I'm going to have to find out why exactly that is.
127.5 at a tad over 96.5 miles an hour. Robert Alon has the qualifying record here. And that at the moment not being threatened. This morning we did a 25.9. That was Pat O'Ward, wasn't it, who did that in the car that James French is driving at the moment, which is top of the shop, and in fact he's just pushed the time to beat down to 128.9. Tommy Dreesy and Donyot respectively at 33.0 and 33.6. So this at the moment is all about how much time James French can find in the next 2 or 3 laps. Looking good through sector 1. In fact, that's the quickest time through sector 1 by some margin. Just 29 seconds to go through there, so that in itself is getting on for 2 seconds quicker than what we saw the GT cars going through that sector. This is a purpose-built race car, been around for a wee while now. Started life as an LMP1 car, the very pinnacle of technology. Back in 2007, 2008, reappeared as an Orica in 09 for the Formula Le Mans series back in Europe, which never really caught on. I remember seeing, I think, 11 or 12 cars at Silverstone in a race there. 28.964 for James French, 29.6 last time around. 2 very good first sectors, but rather messed it up on the last one. But then the cars came and tried out at Road Atlanta, and I think Jeanette was one of the first drivers, if not the first driver, to sit in it and drive it as a bit of a stick a toe in the water kind of thing, as an additional class in the then American Le Mans series. The teams took to them immediately, saw the potential of these cars. Carbon fibre chassis, pretty much unbreakable V8 engine of GM architecture. It's still K-Tech that look after them, actually, who are from around these parts. Just up the road. And the cars have been updated in a number of ways down through the years, but they're still the same basic concept. Continental coming on board a few years ago to provide the tyre solution, and have actually done a really good job with these cars. James French then not improving last time around. Neither did Tommy or Donyot. So James French now coming to the line again, bouncing his way through turn 12, lines his sights up on our booth, and then fortunately turns in, across the line. Don't think he's going to improve here. No, that was a slow lap, so that was a cooling down lap, trying to get a little of the tyre performance back. Looked very good through turns 1 and 2 there. Four-wheel drifting, flat drifting the car out of 1 over that little bridge, and the rise at 2. Now down to 3, come on. Gets his braking right, looks across the corner, was looking across the corner early, rides up onto the blue and white curves, but keeps the Continental tyres on the left-hand side of that car, off the grass. Feeding his way through 3, 4 and 5, the serpentine section. It's got a good floor to it though. Now heads out onto the curving back straight, the Strand, with the Detroit River on his left-hand side, and winds up to very high speed indeed before he hits the braking area, turn 7. Worst of the bumps taken out before turn 7. As Tommy Treacy now comes through. Again, this is his 9th lap he's about to complete. 8th lap he's about to complete. I'll go back. 9th lap he's about to complete. Timer screen was a little laggy there. 1:33.1. Checkered flag is out. One more lap for Tommy Treacy. Not sure why James French is going around unless he thinks he's got something going on this lap, and he's going to have to be careful because ahead of him Don Yount is peeling off into the pits. Well, he stayed out there. He must see on the dashboard he's got a better lap going. Does he beat his time? He does. A 28.494. Now, he did a 28.0 in the second free practice, so not quite his best time of the weekend, but easily good enough for pole position for James French, and he adds to his pole tally in prototype challenge. Tommy Treacy a 33.1 last time around, so this is his 7th pole position, and in 2017 he's had 2, so this is his 3rd, so 7th overall in the category and 3rd in 17. Great mime from Jeremy Shaw next to me at the moment. The only one he hasn't got is at Sebring, 3rd in 4 races this year. I thought it was going to be a movie that Jeremy was miming to me there. 5 syllables. Doesn't really work on the radio, does it? James French then has captured the pole position. Tommy Treacy still out there and lifted off in the middle sector now. So we'll make do with 2nd position. So the only car in the PC category to beat all the GTDs was the 38 of James French. The car that he shares with Pat O'Ward from Performance Tech Motorsport. And that car cruised back in the pit lane with 10 laps when he comes into the pits on his Continental tyres. And waiting down there, along with the photographers and the dignitaries for the pole award, will be our Continental Tyre pit lane reporter, Shea Adam. 3 out of 4. Not bad at all for James French. Shea.
And our first Chevy pole of the day, because
very good.
that is the power plant in the back of these Orica FLM09s. Maybe an older spec chassis, but it's still that nice crate engine.
LS3 engine, isn't it, that K-Tech
Yep.
put together for this? Very durable, very powerful, very tractable. And they go fast, and they go fast for a very long time. Congratulations from the team. Helmet is still on. Performance Tech guys very happy with that. Just to confirm, by the way, Shea, sorry, Tommy Treacy did come around, did not improve, went back into the pit lane. So it's 38, 26 and 20, with James French then taking his 7th pole position of his career and 3rd out of 4 races this year. Helmet is about to come off. Let's hear from the happy pole sitter.
It's not a bad record at all. The one that he prefers, though, is the win streak that's been going on for James French. Leading the championship coming into this weekend. You knew it was going to be a pretty good weekend off the bat when you saw the entry list and saw that there wasn't that much competition, but still meant you could have qualified 3rd. Instead, you go for another pole position. 7 poles in your career, 3rd. Not too bad for the number 38.
Yeah, exactly. It's always great to get pole for the team. We've had a really good car all weekend so far, which is today. But yeah, it's been really good so far. I mean, this is the first track I got a pole at, so it's kind of memorable in that respect. Yeah, so I mean, really happy with the result, and went pretty well.
And you had to do it because it's team owner Gwen O'Neill's birthday, so you had to do a little something extra for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Gwen for your birthday. I'm sure we'll do some celebrating tomorrow, of course. We got the race tomorrow, but yeah, exactly.
When there are only 3 cars in the class, how do you concentrate and keep the pedal all the way down the whole way through?
I mean, we pretty much just go for the approach of always trying to get as much performance out of the car, whether it's 3 cars or 30, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to do the best we can do with what we have. So that's what we tried to do.
Well, you did it today. Good job, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, just a tad slower than he was this morning, so not risking it all and very sensible in that respect there. The car has come back with all its corners on, with no grazes on the bodywork, with only 9 laps on its Continental tyres. Just to confirm, the 26 in second with Tommy Treacy and Don Yount in the number 20 in third. So let's put 15 minutes back on the clock. Shea Adam, who's pole position in prototypes?
Who's going to be on pole?
Yeah.
Oh. You know, the 10 car is on such a streak this year that it's really hard to look beyond
Got
Ricky.
to end sometime.
Yeah, it does. And the one person who I think really could do it is sitting behind the wheel of the number 5, because Christian Fittipaldi sat on pole here last year, and he is entirely belted in. He actually just tightened down his belts. I feel like he's got a really solid chance at it. Eric Curran is getting into the wheel of the number 31.
He was stellar this morning.
He really loves this place, and Eric is a guy who doesn't really get enough credit for his actions. So he's another spoiler chance. I'm going to stick with Ricky, though, and I know that's risky to do at this point, but I don't know. They've really had luck on their side. The other people who could throw...
85 has been the best of the rest. JDC Miller Motorsport, the bright yellow machine. Have they got enough pace over a single lap?
I don't know, but it's Misha Goikberg who's had an incredible day so far. I mean, he was so feisty in the first practice session. He's just jumping over the wall now, putting on his red gloves to get behind the wheel of that banana boat machine, I think is what David Baltzar, IMSA PR, was trying to get the name to catch on. We do not, importantly though, have the number 52 out on the pit lane. They will not be qualifying this session, so that is one prototype we are down, which means we only have 9 cars to play with.
Misha telling Jeremy Shaw earlier on, by the way, he's loving the car, loves the feel of it, feels at one with it, very comfortable was how he described it earlier on. That is so important, Shea, isn't it? Because it's about being confident with the car. Rodent of some description out on the circuit, and at the moment not able to find a way out.
You mentioned the comfort factor, though. It really shows in the driving style, as you said, best of the rest. But when you consider you're fighting against teams like ESM, like Mazda, like Visit Florida, those are big contenders to be ahead of.
Well, is Ryan DL going to qualify the 22?
No, Ryan's in jeans. He's standing on the pit wall talking to the crew at Scott Sharp as he looks back over his shoulder. And
having
Ed
heard
Brown,
his name, yes.
Yeah, he did hear his name over the PA. It's sounding quite nice. The number 55 Mazda is the next car as I walk down the pit lane from pit out towards pit in. And that is Jonathan Bomarito's helmet.
Oh, right.
So J-Bomb getting an opportunity around here.
Opportunity for Mazda here. We've seen them go well here in the past. The cars seem to like the straight circuits, and they did have a little bit of pace this morning.
Well, and last year at this track, it was the first podium for Mazda, and then they got their second podium at Long Beach. So clearly they do well at the street courses. 55 is definitely one that we need to keep an eye on. But the sister car, the 70, they do not yet have a podium to their name. And I know Tom...
Oh, just lost Shea there for a moment as everyone fired up their telemetry. She'll be back in a second, I'll tell you that. It always happens like that. Are you back?
There we
Shea?
go. I am back. Tom Long would love nothing more than to put that number 70 car on pole, because the 55 got a couple of them last year. One with Jonathan Bomarito at Road America. That was the home track for John Doonan, who is the president of motorsports operations for Mazda. So that was a pretty meaningful pole position. And Tristan Nunez got a handful for himself, but Tom Long would really, really like to put that number 70 on pole. And funny little note, there was a little bit of damage on the back end plate of the Mazda on the left-hand side from a little bit of contact with Andy Lally in the number 93 Acura. That is still on this car. It's not even a missing chip. It's just like some paint has been scraped away, actually. A little bit of brown showing through underneath the black, but it's all good. And for the number 90, the last of our cars going out to qualify, it is the quick man himself, Renger van de Zande. He's raced here twice. He's won here twice. Now, both of those came in the PC class in 2015 and 2016. So for him, it's a whole new track. You're going out there with the roof over your head, But when I talked to him earlier, he said they were hoping for a little bit of rain for that Visit Florida car. And if you've got Florida on there, then rain is quite likely, said a Florida girl. No rain on the forecast for them, unfortunately.
No.
But that doesn't mean that Renger's not fired up. He got practice last weekend. He was with you at the Nürburgring, John. And he said he felt like there's a little bit of unfinished business. So he's trying to prove to the team that they can get another podium, because their first one came at Daytona, and they haven't been anywhere near since.
Stand by. If you are of nervous disposition, you might want to look away. Keep children and small animals back from the fences. It's time to go prototype qualifying. We'll find out who will sit on the pole for the Chevrolet Sports Car Classic. We have 15 minutes to decide who will come to the green flag tomorrow first. And we are counting down from 15 minutes. The car's released from the pit lane, and Ricky Taylor is first man out in the number 10, the form car. The Konica Minolta Cadillac, that gloss black machine, has rolled out, followed by J-Bomb, Jonathan Bomarito in the Mazda, Tom Long in the 70, 55 is the dark red car, 70 is the grey machine. Misha Goikberg, as reported, in the 85, bright yellow. Ed Brown in the black and bright green ASM number 22. Still to go out, Scott Sharp in the 2, the 5, the 31 and the 52. We don't expect to see the 52 car out in this session. Scott Sharp just being held by the ASM crew. Hand just held out as the Nismo engine gets up to temperature, and now it's time to go.
Well, and what I love was the 90 was held in the pit box of Visit Florida car with a guy standing in front of it with a stopwatch. He was looking at when the cars were leaving the pit lane and trying to figure out a time to give Renger a gap. That is precision.
That is very, very smart, Shea. Yeah, very good. Of course, you're in the lap of the gods once everyone's on the track, because you're not sure of how quickly they're going to go on their out lap. But that is smart. Wanted to get him out before the number 10 came around, and that is about to happen now. Ricky Taylor, I can see the headlights coming towards me, turns into the right-hander, gets close to the pit lane wall, crosses the stripe and heads into the first corner. Turns in nice and smoothly, a little late on the apex, but that's perfect for these downforce cars. Over the bridge and down towards the braking area at turn 3. Meantime, getting up to speed, Jonathan Bomarito on the other side of the circuit, half a lap away from the number 10 Cadillac on its lap. J-Bomb now starts as well. His flying lap. Tom Long not that far behind in the sister car. Those two cars on the same piece of straight between 2 and 3. There goes Ed Brown in front of us in the 22, the Nismo Ligier. Ligier, the chassis manufacturers. Cadillac have a Dallara chassis with their bodywork and engine in it. 6.2 litres of engine. We've seen the cars up to 158 miles an hour top speed in the second practice session. 158.4 for Misha Goikberg in the JDC Miller car, the 85, the slipperiest car on the circuit for top speed. But that means nothing if you can't get it stopped and turned. But Misha loving this car. This is one of the global cars with the standard bodywork and engine package as it comes from the manufacturer Orica, so the Gibson engine and the standard Orica bodywork. Very pretty and purposeful looking car, particularly in this bright yellow. Here he comes past us. Wow, not a hint of a lift through that kink there. Down into turn 1 from 6th down to 4th gear. Holds 4th through turns 1 and 2. Very committed. Looks like a good start to the lap. So easy to make a mistake on that opening couple of corners, and then that really makes the whole lap pointless. At that point, you've got to take a deep breath, gather your thoughts. Not that committed into turn 2 from Misha Goikberg. Maybe he's not feeling the tyres are quite there yet. Hearing the drivers that I spoke to during the break saying it is taking a wee while, maybe as much as a couple of laps for the prototype tyres to come up to temperature. No tyre warmers allowed here. IMSA are very particular about that. Bomarito, the best of the prototypes at the moment, with a 128.918. 128.971 for Tom Long. So the two Mazdas showing early. Ricky Taylor at 33. That's not even trying. Ricky can do that with one hand tied behind his back. So that was a different tactic in terms of how he's warming up the tyres. And interestingly, Christian Fittipaldi in the number 5, the Whelen Engineering racing car, also did a 33.5. Suggests to me that the Cadillacs have a plan to do a couple of laps before they really get on it. Now, Ricky's just come through. And yeah, 126.7 goes straight to the top. Isn't that interesting? 2 best sectors. But Goikhberg goes through and takes the sector 3 time, and that's good enough to give him provisional pole on a 26.458. Now the qualifying record here, as Jonathan Bomarito now goes through, and there's 26.458. My apologies, that changed so quickly. So it's 55.85.10. The Mazda's giving it a good go. The qualifying time that we're looking for here for the prototypes, Christian Fittipaldi in the Coyote Corvette, a 123.8. So a little way to go for that. 123.1 back in 16. Both of those records, the race record was set by Dane Cameron, also in the DP Corvette, the Coyote chassis. So 126.458. Jonathan Bomarito back to the top. Time to come yet. In the earlier sessions, we saw a 23.0 up to the top position. Christian Fittipaldi. I need to pace myself here, because I think we're going to see exactly as we saw in GTD, with improvement after improvement after improvement. Best first sector by Renger van der Zande in the number 90, 27.7. Best second for Ricky Taylor at 31.6. And best third sector for Ricky Taylor, 25.0, as he is the first man under 125. And the 10 car now takes its turn on the top of this timing and scoring monitor, but with still over 8 minutes to go, that is very provisional pole position. That will not be good enough for pole, says Heindorf, hardly really putting his head on the block. Jeremy Shaw to my left nods. Oh, and I say that, and that's Ricky Taylor. That's Ricky Taylor in the wall, and in the wall hard in the early part of the lap. And that has deranged the front and the rear of the number 10 car. Very unusual mistake for Ricky. He's hit the concrete barrier pretty much straight on. First big crash we've ever seen for that car. So it's out of 3, coming down towards 4, turns in and just didn't make it. Didn't hit the curb on the inside driver's right, scraped along the wall. The red flag is out. We have not had the requisite number of minutes to make this a session. And the clock has stopped. For the moment at least, the clock has stopped at 7 minutes 31 to go. Drama, having just set the fastest lap. Now, causing a red flag means that you forfeit your fastest lap. So that lap will disappear. The 124.5 will disappear, which puts Renger van der Zande in the number 90 VisitFlorida.com car at the moment on top of the pile, but that time will not stand unless we go back to more green flag racing. Oh, it's back end that went first. It wasn't understeer, it was back end that went and pulled that car into the wall, broke the steering, and then Ricky was just rolling along the wall until the car involuntarily turned left. So coming out, I don't think he even touched the curb. Turns in to turn 4, it looks okay, then it just slides in the middle of the corner to the exit point. Very strange accident. That is the first damage that we've seen for the number 10 car all year. Shea Adam in the pit lane. There will be a scratching of heads going on at the Konica Minolta racing team.
A lot of consternation down here, John, as I'm trying to figure out if there's somebody to ask.
Well, first of all, we
okay?
need to know if Ricky's okay, yeah.
I never heard him talk back.
We have a thumbs up from the box. Ricky is okay. That is the most important part of this whole equation.
Well,
but,
the guys are there. IMSA safety team and rapid response is there. The turbo-powered Cayenne, and already have the incident vehicles there. And Ricky is out of the car and on his own 2 feet with not really any assistance, just a guiding hand from the IMSA team. Disappointment rather than any sign of injury. Oh, body language not good from Ricky Taylor. He looks back in the way that a golfer would look back to see where the divot was that diverted the putt for the Open Championship. I think he's completely nonplussed there, Shea, if I'm honest. I don't think he's got any idea why the car stepped out of line when it did. He wasn't on the ragged edge by the body language of the car at all. Didn't seem to be pushing the envelope that far. Now listen, it's qualifying, you're pushing, but he didn't hit the inside curb, and the change of direction for the back of the car came very late in the corner.
And that's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, well, not where you thought you would have had the power on.
No, and not knowing what happened, that would be something that the other two Cadillac drivers who are out for qualifying, luckily they cannot see a big screen. They can't see what happened, and hopefully the team is able to communicate with them.
Clock is running, and we've lost 3 minutes. By the way, the news on Ricky is he did not have to wait for a medical vehicle. He's in the rapid response Cayenne. And the Porsche, the 4.8 Porsche V8 is bringing him back.
The interesting situation we have, John, is that normally if we don't get in the allotted time, it is set by points.
Yeah.
Our points leaders are the 10, but they caused the red flag. So I'm wondering how all that would work. That's something for the brains.
Rock, paper, scissors. I'm saying rock, paper, scissors now.
Yeah, box is a couple down from you would have to figure out, but the 5 and the 31 are certainly hoping that it doesn't resume and that it is set by points, because then if the 10 doesn't start on pole, well, it would be those two cars.
We only need, I was about to say the clock had stopped again. We only need about the amount of time we've got left to make this a session. So the problem is, of course, that this is a shared race weekend and there's other things to come. So I'm not sure that we can stop the clock and run on. It's not going to take very much longer. We need about 3.5 minutes, I reckon, to run through. Coming up is, well, say that, there isn't anything after this. My apologies. Well, we might get this, then reset. Because at the moment, it's 90. Now, the times have changed. It's now 90, 55, 85, 70, 5:31.2. So the 10 has been pushed back down to its time of 8th position. Thank you, timekeepers. So I think they're going to call this as it stands now. We will not have quite enough running by the regs to have done that, but let's see what happens. And it might be worth having a word with somebody down on pit lane, Shea, if you can, to find out the news coming from race control. 2.5 minutes of time on the clock. Very, very odd.
Hey, Rick,
from
your P1
from the onboard.
24.5. P2 is 26 flat.
Just getting a little bit of radio there, not the car noise.
Sorry, guys. Hard hitting the wall.
Sorry, guys, hard hitting the wall. You probably heard that from the car radio. Yeah, it was the back, the left rear that hit hard.
One guy
Shaw
who's
having a good look at that, Shea, and he thinks he may have just carried too much speed into the corner. He didn't get right on the curb on the inside, so that's good eyes. Might not have any voice, but good eyes from Jeremy.
He's always good for something, is Jeremy Shaw. One guy who's really not happy if the session does not resume, though, is Misha Goikberg, because I just walked by the 85 car, and he had the look of fire in his eyes. He wants this pole position.
Cleanup continues. The flatbed is there, trying to get the Cadillac dragged backwards. And we're also spraying a little bit of detergent on the track as well to try and disperse something. We're down to 1 minute and 4 seconds now, so keep an eye, Shea, on the starter stand, because you can see, I just can't see it from where we are. Oh, yes, I can. And yeah, I can see it, so if I look carefully. 50 seconds to go. At the moment, let me recap Ricky Taylor and the number 10 car in some trouble with it going onto the back of the flatbed, having hit the wall in the early part of the lap. Coming out of turn 4, the number 2, or the second of the intervention vehicles, now both Cayenne GTSs. We used to have one Cayenne GTS and one Cayenne Turbo S. Just noticed that. Very handsome beast that is, with the IMSA logos on it. At the moment, it's 90, the Multimatic with the Gibson engine, one of the LMP2 global cars. Renger van der Zande. Checkered flags out. Checkered flags out. Now, question will be, will that time stand? Jonathan Bomarito would be on the front row of the grid with Misha Koikberg on the inside of row 2 and Mazda number 70 on the outside. So both Mazdas in the top 2 rows. The best of the Cadillacs would be Christian Fittipaldi in 5th position, with Eric Curran, effectively the teammate, although running the different team name, in 6th position. Then Scott Sharp, then the championship leading number 10 car, the Cadillac, on the inside of row 5. It would be Ed Brown. Everybody going to check with the qualifying tyres, you probably heard in the background. Well, Van der Zande being shown as the pole sitter at the moment. I would say that is provisional until I hear from race control. Well, I don't think they had enough green flag unless that has been changed in the supplementary regs, which I'll be honest and say I haven't read, but all indications are that the number 90 Multimatic with the Gibson will claim its first pole position of the year. It may be set by points, in which case that would, in theory, promote Ricky Taylor back to the top, but he caused the red flag, so that throws another spanner in the works. But for the moment, on the timing screen, Renger van der Zande shown as the pole sitter, so we'll go and interview him and see what he's going to say. I'm not sure how this is going to be resolved. Shea Adam might be able to help us out. The checkered flag has come out.
And as far as we can tell down here, the causing of a red flag only causes you to lose your fastest lap.
Correct.
They already lost the fastest lap, but if we don't get minimum time, it's set by points.
That's how it stands on the timing screen. That part of the regulation, Shea, you're right, and that has been taken into consideration. The 10 car, which caused the red flag, has had its 24.4 taken away, and it's sitting in 8th position. Renger van der Zande.
Well, we'll give it to Renger. Why not? First pole position in the prototype class. It's pretty cool that you came back here. You said you needed some good attention. Well, that's one way to do it. Go fast.
Yeah, exactly. That always works, right? No, I think it's, I mean, I feel very comfortable on this racetrack, and I think we made some nice changes. When Marcus on the car this morning in the second practice, he was making it better, making it better, making it better. I jumped in, made one final change, and we made another big change right now for qualifying. So we're working hard, and it's paying off as it looks like. So I'm very happy with this. And I mean, let's see. I think we're starting on points, isn't it? But if we are, it's a shame, because we'd love to start from pole.
Well, right now, as far as we can tell, that you are the pole sitter. So if that stands, congrats. And it's pretty exciting to come back. You mentioned earlier, before one of the sessions, that you weren't entirely sure if it was the changes you guys were making to the car or the fact that it was rubbering in because the track was getting so much different rubber laid down. Did you feel in that qualifying session, after so much Continental rubber being down, that it was your setup change?
Yeah, it's rubber from IndyCar, rubber from, what is it? And you see on every street track, I love street track because of it, you know, it's changing every session. Every session is different, and I think now again, the track was different than the last practice, and it's about who makes the nice changes and about who the driver who adapts to the conditions. And I think with the rubber down from IndyCar, from all the classes that are running, I think you have to adapt a little bit everywhere, a little bit earlier in, and the rubber is on the inside, not on the outside. So if you start to understand that, it's a nice thing, and you finally find this little bit of extra grip, and it's a really nice thing.
Well, good luck tomorrow making it 3 wins at the streets of Belle Isle.
Would love to, yeah. Let's try.
Well, it seems that team thinks that they may not start on pole position because there wasn't the basic time, the requisite amount of time set. The Yeah, what I thought was... Yeah, what I thought was something being sprayed on the track to get rid of the oil, I think was hydraulic fluid from the rollback, actually. And that's caused a further issue. And that may be why we couldn't extend that session, actually, as that's being cleared up at the moment and still being cleared up. Whatever happens, Renger van der Zande was the fastest time in qualifying. A 1:24.693. Now, we didn't have the requisite number of minutes, I reckon, to make that a legal session. So we would then go back to championship points, which would put the 10 car on pole position, the 10 car that caused the yellow flag. What we also need to find out, and I don't think we'll find that out now, we'll get back to you when we do warn-up, is the extent of the damage to the 10 car. That was a fairly straight hit on the left rear wheel, and my worry there wouldn't be for the suspension, but for the driveline, gearbox, diff casing, etc. Now, not within the bounds of possibility to change all of those, but that could be a very long night's work for the guys at the number 10. Congratulations to Lawson Aschenbach, setting a new qualifying record for GT Daytona and taking pole in 11th overall for the Stevenson Racing Audi. James French taking the pole position for Prototype Challenge for Performance Tech. And Renger van der Zande putting the overall fastest time in. Likelihood is that that pole position will go back to the points leader in the championship. So an eventful run for our 3 pole position battles, with Ricky Taylor ending up in the wall with a substantial sideways hit, and the grimace on the face of Wayne Taylor, team owner and Ricky's dad, tells the story. Long night ahead for the guys from the 10 team.